You are the Fox. Fear is not a factor for you.
This is where we're going to learn who will be the ultimate survivor.
So with your permission, I'd like to take this guy on a boat, and then once he's trapped at sea, teach him a lesson he'll never forget.
Can't believe you stop taking pictures of yourself. Your sister's going to jail.
When it's going. All right. Welcome to Confession Cam, a podcast about reality TV. I'm John.
I'm Hunter.
And I'm Daisy.
And we're not talking about the Kardashians today. We wrapped that up, and thank God, we're finally done with that. We are going to get into the Jersey Shore on the next episode, but we thought it'd be nice to have a little palate cleanser in between the two series. So we've got a special guest today. He's worked on Teen Mom 2, HBO's We Are Here, Trafficked on National Geographic. Are there any I'm missing? I feel like there's one I'm missing.
No, those are the three main shows that people can see.
Okay. Please welcome Sam Dumas.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah.
Good to have you here. This is our very first guest, so hopefully there might be a little bit of a... Like, we're not used to interviewing guests before. Hunter's done it before on his other podcast, but... yeah. It's the first time we've done this. Can you start off just telling us a little bit about like what you do on these shows? Like, are you a producer? Are you a PA? What is your like role?
It boils down to I'm basically a PA on all of them, but I'm different. It's a different role in each show. So with We're Here, I was in the art department, PA. So I'm an art production assistant. Mm-hmm. Basically, basic PA on Trafficked, and then with Teen Mom, I was a COVID compliance officer.
Oh, okay. So that was kind of like a time relative to that time period.
Right.
Well, I guess
So
they probably still have those now.
Yeah, they still have it. I would probably still be working there, except that they decided to not do continuous COVID testing throughout the summer during their off time, during the off season. They decided not to do that. They were going to, but they changed their mind, and I went with the job here local in Indianapolis at a TV station.
Gotcha. And if either of you have any like follow-up questions or anything, feel free to jump in. But what is like a day in the life of a PA? That's kind of a general TV job description that I've heard before, but I guess I don't understand what.
So it's a production assistant. Basically, It's the hard labor. It's the general labor. It's the people you got to move stuff, talent wrangling. There's a lot of things that a PA can be doing. For the first show I got into was We're Here, and I went signed on as a regular PA. The first day, me and some college girl, we moved 80 cars for their fleet. Because this is before the production was coming in, or during the 2 days that production was flying in. So we moved all their cars that they rented out to the hotel. And after that, they decided to move me over to the art department. I think they thought I was going to get fired. Oh. I don't. Yeah, there's some drama there. They did not want to put me over there, but then the production manager changed her mind at last minute and put me over in the art department. Apparently, it was very difficult to staff that department. I guess the lady who's in charge of it was very strict and very particular. And It was hard to keep PAs over there. They would fire PAs a lot.
Huh. So it's a high turnover job.
Very
position?
high turnover, yeah. But she liked me enough that they wanted me to go with them through the rest of the season.
Oh, cool. I watched the episode of We're Here that you worked on, or I think you actually worked on 2 episodes, but I watched the Evansville one. It's really good, by the way. I highly recommend people check it out. One thing about that show that I noticed is true of a lot of reality shows is it kind of constructs a like narrative story arc. On that episode, it's with the 3 different people, or I guess it's 4 because were the 2 women who got married at the end.
Yeah.
But a lot of reality shows do that. I see it a lot on like The Bachelor, for example. There's like a story arc. I guess I'm wondering, and I'm sure it depends on the show, but do reality shows go into it like with a story arc in mind and then try to get the footage they want to construct that arc? Or is it more like they shoot everything and then arrange it so that it tells a story?
It depends on the show. With We're Here, it's a little different. It's kind of hard to classify that as a reality show. It's definitely a docudrama it's like half documentary, half reality.
Yeah.
So they did the casting for that, I think, a year before they do the casting for that show. Then they decide what the story is, and they do kind of construct the story. With Teen Mom, they definitely construct a story. It's half story and then half actual reality going on because the talent in quotation marks, they're kind of a loose cannon, so they have to be very on their feet. The field producers have to be very on their feet. because it's kind of half and half. They have an
Okay.
idea of what they want to show, but then for Teen Mom, a great example is one of the moms, her ex-husband, not ex-husband, but the baby's father was
yeah.
coming back from drug rehab. So they knew that they wanted to capture an emotional reunion scene, but the actual small details of the actual interaction they don't have planned. They just know what they're trying to capture.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So they might have like specific reaction they're hoping to get,
Yeah.
And if they don't get that reaction, then you just have to be able to change plans on the
Yeah.
on the
So
fly.
that was
Okay.
crazy. That was crazy because he was flying in from Houston, I think. And that was the only. So for Teen Mom, I mentioned I was a COVID compliance officer, except for one episode where one of their production, what did they call that? He had a title, not a production manager, a team wrangler or something like that, had COVID. So he had to stay inside of his hotel room. So they had me fill in for the role. I get a phone call at 6 o'clock in the morning, says, "Hey, can you get down to Beech Grove by 7?" And I was like, "No, I can't." It's like, so I got there by 9, which is fine. I show up, they hand me a bunch of sound equipment, which they were not supposed to do because these are actually union jobs. But the sound guy didn't mind, so they hand me sound equipment, throw me in a van. I had to go to the airport, find out from the airport where media is allowed to park. I had to go find this man I've never met in my life who's wearing a mask because of COVID. They're getting off the airplanes. I had to intercept him, get the microphone, make sure he's mic'd up, hold him, because they're coming behind me. They were going to film her reaction. They wanted an actual genuine shot of her reaction first time seeing him. But trying to manage all of that, get that put together was chaos.
Gotcha.
That's interesting because I've heard interviews with other people who've been on reality shows, and there definitely does seem to be a lot different. Like, I believe it was Wife Swap. There was just like she kind of became notorious as like the crazy Christian lady who got sent to a family of atheists, but the whole show is like her freaking out. And then in interviews and stuff, she said it was really like the first day that a lot of those outbursts were just like me getting used to the new environment. And by like day 3, I was like best friends with this family.
Yeah.
So when they put the episode together, it was almost all my reactions from the very first day seeing stuff and being like, this isn't my house. This is weird.
What you see on TV, a lot of it is fabricated, but they also will poke and prod and cause controversy that's not supposed to happen. So interesting tidbit about the Teen Mom. The way they do that, their production is completely remote. I never met anyone before I got hired. It was all phone stuff. And what they do is they fly in. It's a crew of 7 people. They fly in. I meet them. I do the COVID testing. I hang out with them for a minute, help them do any other small things they need help with. But then they fly out after a couple of days. They just keep flying in and out. Well, I figured out what everyone's role is, but there's always this one just really massive, huge, like 6.5 foot tall, muscular guy. And I asked him, like, "What do you do here?" He's like, "I'm security." I'm like, "Oh." So, like, to protect us from, like, in case someone tries to steal our equipment, he's like, "No, to protect you from the talent."
Wow.
I'm like, "What?" So he explained to me, I never seen Teen Mom, but apparently one of the main, her name starts with an A, for one of the OG, Teen Moms, attacked her husband with a machete.
Oh, wow.
But they poked and prodded that. They didn't try to stop that, and they got in trouble for that. They ended up having to pay a fine, and that's happened a few times. Like with the guy who came back from rehab, he was super nice, but I guess in earlier seasons, like he would show up with like a gun, like an automatic like rifle.
Wow.
And they have to have security protect the crew from these. Well, I mean, the talent.
I've heard of. Is that just a side question? Is that a common thing to refer to the cast members as talent, even if it's a reality show?
Yeah, I do that because they're not actors. I mean, it's the focus. They might call them different things in different productions, but I just keep calling them the talent.
I do think you're in an interesting place with some of the shows you've worked on, because that's one of the things I've wanted to focus on as we go into these different shows is like the difference between like reality TV and like a documentary. Because like on paper they're almost presented like the reality show is supposed to be like so close to a documentary as putting people in a weird situation as it can be, but I think there's a conceit that everyone knows that's not really the case.
Right.
So
yeah, so we're here. It's like I said, half and half. I would consider it more documentary, but it is still kind of put together, and a lot of the drama that you see on the actual show is still curated. Honestly, they don't show even half of the drama that goes on, and it's good drama, good quality, not this like bickering, backstabbing drama. There's actually a lot of good quality drama that gets cut out for that particular show.
Why is that?
For time, for some reason, they decided to go with an hour-long format. They should honestly do 2-hour-long format because there's a lot of cool stuff that goes on, especially with the Evansville episode, you remember the pastor's speech at the end. They cut that speech down. They made it seem
really?
like he was. Yeah, they made it seem like he was doing that for his daughter. But his daughter had a friend at the church who had killed herself because she wasn't accepting. He realized that he can't have his sheep, his congresspeople or his members of a church killing themselves off. And a lot of the people at his church agreed with that. And his particular church actually supported him going on to the show.
Wow.
That's really cool.
So they kind of cut that out, I think, just to save time. But I mean, it's which doesn't make sense because it's not even
Yeah.
aired on actual TV; it's aired on the streaming service.
Right.
Why not
Yeah.
just do the 2 hours?
Yeah, you'd think on streaming, like an HBO original series that's direct to streaming, it would be a little more flexible on that. You'd
Also,
think.
side note: HBO does not make that show. Same with National Geographic; they don't make their shows. These are all independent production companies that put these together, and then they have contracts with HBO to air the stuff.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So
for,
I didn't
thanks
work-
for
yeah,
thanks
so
for clarifying.
I
that.
didn't work for HBO. I worked for a production company that's a shell of another shell. It's actually really hard because I had to like put this on like a job application, or when I was buying a house trying to put that company's name on there, I couldn't figure out who I actually worked for. I got paid.
Wow.
I looked at the paycheck, but it was complicated to find out who you actually work for.
Interesting.
I've always been told in situations just look at the name on who the paycheck's from
Yeah.
and just put that.
Yeah. But like I look up the company and it's a shell company based out of California. The actual company I think is in New York or also in California, but it is a shell company I was working for.
But yeah,
So it's
interesting.
yeah.
So you said a lot of the production works remote. Is that because of the pandemic, or has that been the case for a while?
It was definitely because of the pandemic, but they realized how much money they were saving doing that. For MTV, they are all remote. We're here. It's a freaking traveling circus. It's really
Yeah.
cool. And then with National Geographic, it's pretty remote, but that's more documentary, so they're on the ground most of the time.
I guess I never thought of working on a TV show as being the type of thing you can do remotely.
Yes, with
That's
all the
cool.
technology we have, it makes it easier. And,
Yeah.
and they realize they're saving so much money, especially when they hire all of us local PAs and not have people travel around.
Yeah, because you worked on a lot of the more Indiana-centric
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I did travel with, we're here out to South Dakota, and then I was supposed to go to Hawaii for that episode. The Marla, the lady in charge of the art department, really wanted me out there. She did not want anyone else. They would not pay for my plane ticket to go out there because I wasn't about to drop $1,500. That's half of the paycheck off per episode
Yeah.
I was making. I'm not about to drop half my paycheck just to go out to Hawaii to say I did it because I do have a family at home. I do have a house and stuff. I still have to kind of keep
Yeah, that makes sense.
kind of be responsible for. They would not.
So they
budge.
would have hired you. They just didn't want to cover the
Right.
expenses.
They talked about it. I talked to the production manager about that. I explained like I can't pay for that full ticket. So they decided to not take me out there anyways.
Wow.
Which I don't think they were supposed to go to Hawaii. That wasn't a planned episode. It was something another production company came in and wanted. It was kind of a compromise. So they didn't want to take any of the production assistants or anyone out there. They wanted to do all new crew on the ground out in Hawaii. They ended up taking a lot of the production out there anyways. But from what I understand, because one of my friends who worked on the Evansville and South Dakota episode was still pretty good contact with the production team. I guess that they had put 4 people. They hired 4 different PAs for Marla, and they fired every single one of them within a day.
Wow.
And then eventually they had to have one of their legacy PAs come in and help her out.
Wow.
Yeah, she can be intense. In the South Dakota episode, they took over a bowling alley, and they had there was a local PA that hired out there to kind of help us out, move some stuff around. But she's a young girl, and she kept giving input or suggestions to Marla. And here's the thing about people who are in charge of the departments: you don't give them suggestions.
Sure.
This is their thing. They know what they're
Yeah.
doing. You might ask them like, "Hey, do you want this here or here?" As I guess like when I was putting on some on a truck, we had to decorate the Christmas that rope, the sparkly Christmas rope. I had to put over a truck, and I asked her like, "Do you want me to connect it here or here?" as a way of suggestions, and that's fine. But you don't make actual suggestions to these people who are in charge of the department. So this girl kept doing that. So Marla had her go down to the basement, bring all the bowling balls from there up into the bowling alley for the decorations, set it up, and told her, "I changed my mind. Take it all back down there."
Wow.
Wow. So there's like is that almost like what's the word when like they do it in fraternity? Like is that almost
Hazing?
like hazing a little bit?
No, it's less hazing. It's more like this girl's annoying me, keep her busy, but also kind of punishment.
Wow.
For
Oh,
even
okay.
making suggestions.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then I had to go back and with that girl, because it turns out that the bowling balls she was taking were part of this bowling alley's members. and those were like special like balls that were not supposed to be
wow.
touched. These were people's like balls that she's taking out of the lockers and stuff. So I had to go help her organize all of that.
That's funny.
Kind of
Wow.
blew up in my face, but it was fine. I talked to the owner. I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's all down there. And he's like, oh, fine. He had to come up with some excuse. He'll just tell him that they had to do some work and move the bowling balls around and apologize
Yeah.
if anything got mixed up.
Yeah.
Can I ask? You may not know this for the longer form shows, but about how long per episode were you working on? It's an hour-long episode. How long does it take to
So
actually?
for We're Here, I was there for 2 weeks
Okay.
per episode. So 2 weeks in Evansville, 2 weeks in South Dakota. And then side note, with the Hawaii thing, there's a Colorado episode. They called me back to go to Colorado, and then it turns out that Marla was so pissed off by how they were staffing her that she got one of her like old school assistants to come on with the show. So I'm a little bit bitter about that.
Oh wow!
So I got replaced, and I'm out of that show. But also, she doesn't work there anymore either. No one works there
Sure.
at that show. But yes, that was 2 weeks per episode. I don't know, like for MTV, I worked there from November till March. That's how long they're doing the. That's how long the production window is. But they'd only come down for 2 or 3 days every other week to actually do any filming.
Okay.
But it was also 2 shows, so it flip flopped a lot.
Interesting. So, yeah, that's a big difference. 2 weeks and like 4 months. But
Yeah, and then with Trafficked, I was there for 1 day.
oh wow,
1 day only.
Wow.
1 day per location.
Wow.
No,
so there's
just
a,
1 day.
Oh.
Yeah, I went there for 1 day, and it's just one of the most bizarre, insane experiences I've ever had at that 1 day.
We're definitely going to get into that one day.
Yeah,
But
I'll save that towards the end.
so there's a lot of variance in like how long it takes to shoot these shows. It really depends. It could be anywhere from a day to 2
Yeah.
weeks.
I would say
for one episode.
Right. It depends on the episode. So like the production for We're Here, that would have gone from, was that I think May or April to the end of September is the actual production window. But
Oh, for the
2 weeks
entire season.
Yeah, for the entire season, then 2 weeks per episode that they were doing. Maybe a little bit of a larger window. So I think
Gotcha.
it just depends on the production of how they're putting it together.
Has working on these shows changed your opinion of? I don't know what your opinion of reality TV was before. I always so Sam and I have known each other for a very long time, and I always thought of you as being kind of like a guy who's
Super
into
pretentious.
like kind of artsy films
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, so when I heard that you were working on reality TV, I was like, oh, I didn't really think of him as a reality TV guy. Like his, I don't know what your opinion of reality TV was before you started working on it, but like, has this shaped how you view it?
So with
at
the
all?
exception of a couple of shows, which is Wife Swap and Alaska Gold Rush, I absolutely despise reality TV.
Okay.
through, and I still hate it, if not even more.
Oh, you hate it even more.
Yeah, because when you hear about the evil that goes on in TV, it's all reality TV. All that really shady crap, it's 90% reality TV where all the dark stuff is going on. Because they do not care about you at all.
I think it would be interesting for us to do an episode on it at some point as kind of like a history lesson.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's always really interesting that reality TV, while it was popular beforehand, it really took a hold on like every single network when the writers' strike happened.
Yeah.
In the, I forget when that was exactly.
2008, I think.
Because they
right?
don't have real writers. Like MTV, it's like a random director comes up with like an outline of what they want the story to be, and they hand it off to the production management to go out there and try to film that, and then they try to put that together as best as they can possibly put it together. Honestly, I will say We're Here was a really great show to work for. That was my favorite to work for because they were super nice. With it not being really reality TV, the production, they were a lot friendlier. Even though I think one of the production managers may have been a sociopath.
What were you going to say, Hunter?
Oh yeah, I do think it is interesting though. Just saying like they don't care about you. They're just getting their shit done.
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of interesting that they pretty much happened when they're like, we don't give a shit about writers. We're gonna get TV done anyway.
Yeah, they don't care about you at all.
You mean when you say they don't care about you, do you mean like the talent? Do you mean the people that work for the show, or do you just mean
Everything. Everyone's there to make money and get out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
I even realized that Teen Mom was still on the air, and at this point,
I didn't either until you started working for them.
I know, and I said it to one of the production managers or coordinators. I was like, I didn't know the show was still on. And he was like, I know. I'm making so much money right now doing this.
Yes.
Wow.
So when I thought it was really funny when he told me that we had someone coming on who had worked on Teen Mom 1 and 2, I was like, oh, like the original season with like Farrah Abraham, like the one. And then I looked it up, I was like, oh, there's like 12 seasons, and like way down the line for some reason they called them 1 and 2, and it's not season 1 and 2.
It's not, yeah. So it's Teen Mom OG and Teen Mom 2. And there were no teen moms on anything I was working on. At this point, these girls are older or the same age I am.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
So it's
Yeah.
like it's following up
Yeah, these
on
are
their lives.
yeah, these are legacy.
Oh,
people.
interesting.
This is not new stuff. This is our legacy, man. Yeah, it's no. These are the legacy people that were on the original shows. They're still following them.
Oh, for Teen Mom 2?
Yeah, and Teen Mom OG.
Oh,
Because
really?
Teen Mom 2 is following Jade still. I mean,
Okay.
she was on the show like 10 years ago. Well, maybe not
Wow.
10 years ago. I don't think the kid's 10 years old. But these are not teens. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I guess I think I know the answer because I was going to, after asking if you've come to appreciate reality TV more, which it sounds like the answer is no, I was going to ask if you think reality TV is an art form in and of itself. Like, do you consider reality television art?
No.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying the people who aren't working on it are artists. One, the talent are not artists. The whole reality TV is based around people who make bad decisions. They're like, that's just the thing. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, they're on TV because they made bad decisions in their life.
Well, a lot of
And
it.
it's exploited.
We actually had this conversation on the last episode. We talked about how reality TV is inherently exploitative, and I think some shows are exempt from that. We're Here is certainly, I think, exempt from that.
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
a show like Queer Eye, like
Yeah.
some of these sort of like more feel good shows.
Right. Right. Yeah, it is. Definitely exploitative, and that's just the nature of the reality of reality TV.
Yeah.
Not saying that there's not skill that goes into making it, because honestly, to be able to think on your feet, the production managers, that's really it requires a lot of skill and a lot of experience to be able to do that. The stuff that they were just slapping together at last minute, like, okay, I guess we're turning left instead of going right, and just
Yeah.
following these people go off on their crazy lives, to be on their feet, be able to do that. And also with the cameraman and the sound equipment, to be able to maintain all that equipment on the fly like that is
Yeah.
a lot of talent that goes into
It's almost like a different type of skill from like a scripted show,
right.
because you're having to improvise more, right?
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the only, other than shows like the feel good shows, the only other exemption I think that are like some of the competitive shows where I've heard now like the biggest thing you can have on your like portfolio going into something like a new season of Survivor or something is having a huge social media following. Like they're essentially just pulling random influencers to be
That-
like, you're going to be on my show, you're going to post your Be About show, and all your followers are going
And
to
that
watch.
it doesn't just affect reality TV; that affects actual filmmaking and art too.
Really?
a lot of actors are now getting jobs just because they have a bigger Instagram following than another actor.
No way. Huh.
It's kind of a
because they
problem.
think it'll draw more eyes to the product.
Yeah, especially if you're a no-budget independent like film, you want more exposure. So if
Yeah.
you get an actor that has 10,000 followers versus the actor who's got 100 followers, that person with the 10,000 followers will probably post, "Hey, I'm in this movie," giving more of a chance of people to be able to see that movie.
Wow. I should have mentioned because you're kind of involved in like independent film.
Yeah, I've been
stuff,
doing
too.
independent film stuff for the last since 15 or 16. When I was
Yeah.
working with my brother on stuff. Only really gotten into TV in the last since the pandemic because I worked for Eli Lilly and then they cut my department out.
Oh,
They
okay,
left,
gotcha.
We don't need this entire department. So then from there,
Yeah.
I kind of wandered around, did DoorDash for a few weeks, and then
landed on reality TV. Yeah.
And then from there, I've just been jumping from TV to TV.
Yeah.
Can
But-
we?
Oh, go ahead.
Can we ask how you got involved with actually becoming a production
So
assistant?
Indiana is interesting that we actually have one of the largest film communities here that no one knows about because Indiana, we kind of suck as humans, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Terrible. That's for the art community. But we have what's called the Indiana Filmmakers Network, and there are 8,000 people on our Facebook page. But it is we are a 501c corp. Actually, on the board now. We are a 501c organization devoted to educating and networking and bringing in like equipping more or less nobodies with the ability to make their movies and tell their stories.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's how I found it because one of our guys down in Evansville posted that We're Here was coming through. So I just sent him an email with a description of myself, and they hired me. And then from there, I found out there's some industry websites that are kind of shady because you have to pay a subscription. But I did pay the subscription, and it paid off within 2 days of me even subscribing. And I just posted my resume on there, and I've been, jumping from show to show.
That's pretty cool.
I was going to ask, do they do the Heartland Film Festival as well, or is that a separate organization?
It's a separate organization.
I say, because I know we do just have a lot of weird film stuff. I used to work at a coffee shop by one of the theaters that did the Heartland.
Okay.
And it was like no one around me knew that the Heartland Film Festival was happening.
Yeah.
And then we would just get the weirdest like people from like California and stuff coming through our
Yeah.
shop being like, what do you mean you don't have these type of coffee beans? I was like, this is Indiana. Like we cannot, God will not let us grow coffee beans here. It's like
Right.
we get what we can get. So
Right.
please
And I've-
enjoy this coffee.
I've done some work for Heartland too for a couple of years.
Okay.
I did screening for them 1 year, and then I did actual volunteer, like on the ground work. I did usher work at the AMC in Castleton 1 year.
So Indiana's got some cool shit going on. It sounds like.
Yes, we have a lot of cool stuff. Just no one knows how to utilize it, and the problem is that everyone's super exclusive here.
Yep.
Like you probably see this a lot in the music. I know you're heavy into music. I don't know. Maybe
Hunter's
too.
been in bands and
Yeah,
stuff,
right.
and yeah.
That's actually how the three of us met.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah.
But it's the same with filmmaking with all the arts. There is so much infighting for no reason. Absolutely no reason. Everyone's like super pretentious and exclusive. And it's like, if we just like work together.
So people are
We could
afraid.
actually-
People are afraid to network or something.
A lot of that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just their hate going outside of their little cliques.
Gotcha.
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I was trying to do film production when I was in college, and I realized that I just didn't want to deal with the drama, and like I also just didn't have the connections and
Right.
all of it. I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm giving up.
Yeah, no, the drama it's absurd.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I have a friend who's like super wants to be like a filmmaker and stuff, and I've met a couple other directors, people who've done documentaries and stuff, and a lot of those people are just very like, I have a vision, I have a plan, we're doing this.
Right, and we're going off from film here for a minute, but my personal opinion, the auteur filmmaker is dead. There's no reason to be an auteur. Like you have to if you're going to be an auteur, you have to be responsible with that. And a lot of old school people were responsible with that, but like no one here is responsible with that. So stop. You got to be collaborative. It's a collaborative project.
Yeah.
Your vision, you have to compromise.
Yeah. I imagine film even more so than music. I would imagine,
Yeah.
right? Because it takes a lot more people to make a film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been involved in plenty of bands where just some guy like, hey, I wrote 5 songs, want to come learn these for me and record it?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, sure, and we do it, and then you move on. But
Yeah.
like,
I think it's easier to get people together to make music than it is film.
yeah, it's. I mean, hey, do you want to come hang out and play guitar?
Right.
Hey, do you want to carry like heavy sound equipment around for 2 weeks?
Right.
and,
We're
like-
gonna be out here for 16 hours a day. I feed you pizza, maybe.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's a.
Yeah, that's true. There's probably not, even if there's a lot of talent in Indiana, there's probably not a lot of money,
Right.
which is another reason that probably holds
Yeah.
everything back compared to.
Anecdote about that, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I can share that or not.
Yeah, you can tell us off air.
I will. It's pretty fun.
Should we get into the actual shows that you worked on? It sounds like
Sure.
Trafficked has a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, so this is the one where things get a little dicey about what I could be sharing. So
That's fine.
Trafficked, I actually never seen the show, nor did I really quite understand the premise of it. I showed up to work and before I even knew what the show was.
Yeah.
This is why you do research on what you're going to do. So I get a call from this lady. She's like, hey, we're going to be filming this in 3 days. Can you be here to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I can. So I was talking to the production manager, and she was telling me what we're going to do. She's telling me, to show up at the hotel, grab the P card, the production card, go grab Crafty, which is all the snacks and food and stuff, and then meet her back there and run a couple of errands. And that's what I expected to be mostly doing. So I show up at the hotel, and she's like, yeah, come up to this room. Come up to my room to grab the card. I'm like, okay. And then she followed up with a text message was just to grab the card, nothing else. I'm like, okay. It's okay. We're safe here. I'm not, no intentions. Oh, she opens the door, and I got my mask on because it's still COVID stuff going on, and she hugs me. First thing she's like, oh, thank you for helping us out, and like hugs me. I'm like, I guess we're on hugging terms. Person I've never met, who also made it very clear I'm only grabbing the card. So I grabbed the card and did that. But I guess they were following a acid dealer, and who is a really cool person. This person, but yes, they were following an acid dealer who was dealing acid during the Grateful Dead shows.
Wow.
Okay.
And, mostly, I was running errands, and then when they did the actual interview with her, I would also. So they did an interview in one of the hotel rooms. I'd be a stand-in for the camera guy, so he can get the lighting correct. And then when they did the interview, they actually had me leave because the dealer they were interviewing was a little dicey. She doesn't want too many people around, understandably.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I waited out in the hallway for a few minutes, but then time came to actually go into the show. They realized that in order to get into what's called, I think, Shakedown Alley.
Yeah,
or
Shakedown Street.
Shakedown Street or whatever, where they're dealing all the drugs out. They have to have VIP tickets because that's the VIP area, and they didn't have those.
Oh.
So they had me drive on the production Escalades. They actually traded driving for people's VIP tickets at the hotel.
Oh, wow.
So I was driving people into the show and dropping them off and coming back. And they were then tipping me in drugs. Because, man, people who go to the Grateful Dead are really nice people.
They tipped you in
They
drugs.
tipped me in drugs. And I thought, you know what? So I took the drugs, and I was high the entire time
That you were working.
I was working there because it's one day. What are they gonna do? Fire me?
Yeah, true.
But during the thing, my job, they parked the cars. I had to make sure to watch the cars, but also I had to watch her dog. The dealers brought her dog and her girlfriend with her.
Wow.
I'm sorry, person brought their dog and their girlfriend with them. They're cool people.
Yeah.
So I had to watch the dog while they went off and did their thing, and they went off filming. I had to watch the cars. It's called Fire Watch when you're watching the equipment, make sure no one steals it. And I had to chase off what are called the Nitrous Mafia, which are these tweakers that walk around with balloons selling nitrous out of the balloons. And one of them tried to get in one of the cars because the cops were coming. He was trying to hide, so I had to chase him off. There wasn't too much trouble, but that was a little bit scary when I realized he was actually there.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually went to a Grateful Dead show over the summer, and it is crazy. I wasn't even in the VIP area. They have like a public shakedown street too.
Oh, do they?
And it was just as crazy. Like there's a guy with like basically a soda box ripped open and turned into a sign that just said like, "What do you need? Weed, acid, mushrooms? Let me know."
Well, this person was a little more clever about it. They were selling hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff, and they were grilling it. And then you come over and you would talk, and then they would deal out acid.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're a very smart person. I think they actually had like a science degree. I'm friends with them on social media. They actually they had like a science degree. They're actually really intelligent, very interesting. Drive around this armored truck, this F650. It's huge, massive. It looks like it's like a tank though. And her and her girlfriend and their little dog are driving around the country.
I've seen a lot of stuff, but I haven't seen a lot of details about them. I do find you mentioned the Nitrous Mafia.
Yeah.
I've seen them in all kinds of stuff. Like I don't know if you watch like Channel 5 stuff, the reporter.
No.
He goes around, but like he did outside of a Fish concert, and there's some footage with some of those guys, and like I've seen them pop up in other stuff too. Like, but that's wild. I did not realize that there was like basically a monopoly on running nitrous at concerts.
Yeah, there is. It's from what I'm to understand. I don't know details either. This is what information was given to me when we were out there because the lady who we were following was giving everyone the disclaimers because obviously it's a bunch of production Hollywood people. They're out, fish out of water.
Yeah.
They definitely were, surprisingly enough, because one of the camera guys is like, "How much acid are you going to do later?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't think that's how you ask that question."
Yeah. But I can't imagine like a bunch of like Hollywood, like I hold a camera as a job, people being like, "Okay, you're in a field in Indiana at a Grateful Dead concert. Have fun."
Right.
Like that sounds like a setup to like a horror or a comedy film,
Right.
one or the other.
Yeah, she gave us a warning. She said, "Don't take anything from them at all. Like, don't mess with them because they're dangerous people."
Oh,
Wow.
But and she explained, I think that they're all mafia. I think they're out of North Carolina or something, out East Virginia, West Virginia, maybe.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I just you mentioned that, so I wanted to talk about that a little more because that is like that's a really weird one. I'm gonna have to do my own research.
yeah, and they were selling it too. They like balloons. Like guys would go up there, it was like $20 for a balloon, which seems cheap because these were not small balloons. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what nitrous even does to you. I've never actually like. Does that make you numb or happy or?
From my understanding, it's like a very lightheaded high, and it doesn't last super long.
That's what I think. That's what I think I understood too.
But like,
So about $20 worth of high.
but like, from you don't like take the whole balloon normally. Like it's something you can like hit a little bit. It's kind of like whippets. I think it's like more intense
okay.
whippets from my understanding.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Oh, I thought it was whippets.
I mean, basically. So whippets are nitrous, but you're getting them out of like a very small can, and it's like dirty because like if you're doing whippets, you're also probably get like whipped cream or whatever in your mouth. Whereas nitrous is actual pure nitrous, and so you're getting like the very pure form of it.
I don't know how pure this stuff was that these people deal.
That's
honestly.
the idea, at
Right.
least. That's
It's
the
like,
idea.
It's like Breaking Bad shit here.
We have the exclusive blue nitrous oxide.
Right, which is the purest, which I don't understand why. I never understood about that show is why a meth head would care about how pure the quality of the meth would be.
Yeah.
It's like if you're doing meth, you're doing meth, right?
Right.
Whatever.
Should we get into We're Here? Anything else about Trafficked? I think We're Here, it sounds like that's the thing you're most proud of.
Yeah, We're Here's the one I had most fun. It's just that most of the stories come from Trafficked. I was given the option to go into the actual concert proper, but production was done. And I thought, I don't want to go into a concert with these people. I don't ever want to work with them ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were really, really weird. Just it was the vibe was off.
At the Grateful Dead?
At the Grateful Dead,
Yeah.
but yeah, like the actual National Geographic production crew, the vibe was off. I didn't much care for working with them.
Oh, gotcha.
Whereas like We're Here, I loved it. I loved the people. I had friends. There was conversations. It was cool.
Did you get to know the three main, like the drag queens?
Not too much. I had not too much interaction with them. Most of my interaction came with let me explain what I did on We're Here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I explained that I was a regular PA, but then I got moved to the art department.
Hmm.
My job more or less was to go and buy the supplies, but we're building the sets. We built the sets for the production, for the show. At the end of each episode, they put on a big drag
cool.
show. That's what we did, is we were building those sets.
Oh, cool.
There was some minor stuff too. They called it Safe Room, I think, is what it's called. You watched that? I don't watch the show.
Yeah,
Stephanie
yeah.
watched it. She'd tell me. But where they do like the interviews and where they do the discussions, it's called the Safe Room. We also designed that and build that out. And then other minor stuff, like there was a float in the Evansville episode, which I don't even know if it made it into the actual episode. But a lot of work was put into into that street fair that did not end up being in the episode almost.
Mm-hmm.
So we built that float, and that was cool.
It made Evansville look like a very pretty city. I've never been there, but I've always heard it's not a great place to go. But
So Evansville is a hit or miss for me. I actually really enjoyed being down there. The food is
Yeah.
amazing
Really?
at all
Really?
the places because it sits in a really particular area where there's a lot of cultural, there's a lot of cross-cultural like food there, and
Yeah.
the restaurants down there are amazing. It was also really scary downtown on the weekends. Their homeless people were scary. Like
Really?
yeah, like in Anderson we have a homeless problem, but they don't mess with you. They
Yeah.
no one would mess with you. These people were in the middle of the streets trying to put dirt in like trash cans and were like scream at you and like harass you while you're trying to work.
Well, that brings up there's a scene in the episode where there's a man who approaches the three drag queens and he's got a gun in his pants.
yeah.
Like, were you around for that?
No,
when
I
that
was
happened?
not there for that. I wasn't
Okay.
there for a lot of the actual like film work.
Yeah.
The most anywhere I was would have been at the street fair.
Yeah.
For the 4th of July because we built a float and I ended up being on Firewatch the whole time for there, and then I helped do Firewatch for some of the equipment, actual
Yeah.
filming equipment, because it kind of became our central base. And then I dressed up in my and they gave me some American flag overalls, and I had my mask on to hand out balloons.
Yeah.
to kind of
I saw
decorate.
that in the episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that was the most I had been involved in actual filming. That wasn't the last scene where they did the actual show. In that case, I was behind stage. I was acting as a stagehand. In the South Dakota episode, I dropped the robot. You see, there's a science fiction song they did.
Yeah.
I dropped the robot up there from the rafters.
That's
when
pretty
I came down. And then for the Evansville episode, I had to move a couch off during the thing. And that was funny because I had to dance to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you caught that, but for the show, I had to actually learn a little bit of the choreography to be able to do that because I
So
had
that
to
you
like
fit in
dance
with
out.
the
I had to,
people on stage.
right, but
Yeah.
I'm not dressed like them. They're all dressed in this 70s colorful outfit, and I'm in sagehand black, head to toe,
Yeah.
with a hat. I had my mic on, my walkie-talkie, like in my mask, and I was decked out in total black. But I had to dance out with the rest of the people, and they grab the couch and then move it off.
That's fun.
That's
And
cool.
That was fun because I'm probably the least likely person to be able to dance. I have no rhythm.
Yeah,
or
we
beat or
were in a
anything.
music video together, and you wouldn't even dance for that.
I mean, I tried.
Yeah.
I will try to dance, but I'm telling you this now, I'm the worst.
Yeah.
I have no beat or rhythm. But then the guy who was in charge of the dancing, he is also in charge of like dancing design for Britney Spears and J-Lo, Dua Lipa.
Wow.
He's been a backup dancer for Beyonce. I think they said he was the highest paid person on that set. But as soon as they said that I had to dance, he looked at me up and down. He went, he rolled his eyes. I'm like, okay. And he had to show me the moves. It was funny.
You're like, thanks for that vote of
Oh
confidence.
yeah, no, it's.
That's amazing.
I mean, I loved it, but.
So I guess like we've been going almost an hour now, right? So
Can't actually see.
Oh,
where I'm
okay.
Sitting, but
as we're starting to wrap up here, it seems like my biggest takeaway from this interview is that it sounds like a lot of people who work on reality TV are using it as like a stepping stone to something else. There's not. Would you agree that with that? It sounds like that's kind of what you said earlier.
I wouldn't say a stepping stone. Some people maybe like if we're like PAs, it's good to get your foot in the door for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because one of my friends there, that was her first gig too, but she's now actually doing production management for other shows. She came out of college with like a radio degree, so she was just trying to do that for experience, and then got sucked in the TV. A lot of the PAs, especially for We're Here, they are legacy PAs, as all they do is that's their primary job is they travel around. They do not have a home. They live out a trailer specifically on We're Here. There were these two brothers. They were Irish. Both of them were gay, and it's important because what they do is they actually pick up boyfriends in the cities that they go to that then they bring them on as PAs.
Oh.
Interesting.
Huh.
And those guys were crazy. They were really nice, really cool people. Like they were really cool. But one of them owns a cult. down in Arkansas.
How do you own a cult?
Right. I don't know.
You have to like
He started talking about it. I
acquire it.
know the area is in because my buddy Caleb, who lives down there, always
Yeah.
talks about this area. There was a resort city that they were building, and they laid out the entire infrastructure for it, and then lost funding, so they never built any houses. So there's just streets.
Wow.
With like
Wow.
empty, and like it's just empty streets. Like occasionally there are houses built, but it's like a really creepy place. But I guess but they were selling the parcels for like $1,000 for a parcel, and he bought a bunch of it up. And then this cult contacted him. I'm sorry, he calls them communes, but they're a cult.
Yeah.
Because he's very particular about that. But yeah, he got on a forum and he's rents it out. He doesn't rent them out. He kind of rents it out to them. They had to pay him like tribute and stuff.
Wow.
And then there's a cult down. It's probably like, you're crazy, man.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
another thing I got to do some research on in my downtime.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, some people are legacy be like, this is what they do. Because before this show, they were working for a huge documentary series. I can't remember what it's called, but it was following the 2016 election. And they had like dressed up in armor and stuff when they were doing that. And people thought they were like part of like the campaign, but they were just filming TV.
Yeah.
That's what they do is they go and they do PA on different stuff, and that's how they live. Kind of like carnies.
Oh no
Or
way!
like, yeah, kinda the
there's
same
like
way.
a that you're speaking my language now because I'm a big professional wrestling fan. There's like a carny aspect to reality TV.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's people that do that as a living. That's what they do.
and they
PAs.
just travel around.
Right.
Like they don't really have like one place that they live. They travel around to work on these shows.
Right.
And like once they're done with one, they kind of like swing to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's what I was doing for a minute, but then my wife got pregnant, so
Yeah.
I got a job here in Indianapolis at a TV station. I actually turned down a job to go work on Alaska Gold Rush. I'm pretty sure I don't know what the show was specifically, but I was in contact with going up to live in Alaska for a few months to work on a reality show, a very well known reality show. But I turned it down for the current job I'm at.
Deadliest Catch.
No, I think it was Alaska Gold Rush.
Oh, okay.
I hope it wasn't Deadliest Catch. I can't swim. I would have died.
Yeah, that's true.
Get stuck doing ice road truckers.
Yeah, that'd been
Oh,
okay
God.
too. I would have been okay with that, but it was during the summer, so I can't imagine ice road truckers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably not.
Probably Alaska. I'm hoping it was Alaska Gold Rush, which is the one I
Yeah.
like, but I did turn it down to be here in Indianapolis. I regret this. Absolutely regret it. No, it's fine.
Well, that's so interesting. The like peeling back the curtain a little bit, and finding out how this stuff is made, and like I know we just now talked about it, but the carny aspect is really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing that's not true of like that's not the case for like scripted TV, is it? Or is it?
Probably. It depends. I would say no. I haven't really worked on scripted TV. So I
Gotcha.
really don't. I would imagine there's some crossover because if a job is a job, even if you
Yeah.
settle down for a few months, a job is a job. But actually, going back to your point of jumping off, the thing is, like, We're Here was really weird because there are people working on that show that normally would not be working in TV. Like Marla, she doesn't do TV. She does production design for photography. So, like Ozzy Osbourne, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, she designs their stage shows and their album art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was really, but she's an older lady because even one of the other people on the show said it's really weird that she's even working on the show. TV's not her thing.
Yeah.
Same with the choreographer. TV's not his thing, but here they are working on TV. It's because they're friends with the producers. The guys who started the show were actually entertainment lawyers who decided to get into making television. And it's a good idea. It's a good concept. Like on paper, it's a
Yeah.
really wholesome show.
Yeah.
I really think it is a wholesome show.
You just wish it was longer.
I just wish it was longer. That's the only reason I don't really watch it because there's so much good quality drama, like interesting stuff that goes on, a lot of like family related drama and stuff like that. And even, and I think it'd be cool if they even filmed some of the actual production aspects of it, just a little bit
Yeah.
to fluff it out.
And you think they just cut that for time, or do you think they cut that because they're trying to not make it? Because it's not really a dramatic show. It's not
could
like
be, and
super
it should be,
drama centric.
but it should be. Because there's a lot of good drama that goes on there. I mean, you see some of the stories that the people
Could it
tell.
still-
Did you
could
only
it-
watch the Evansville episode?
Yeah, I did. But
Okay.
like, could it still be like wholesome? Like when I think drama, I think of like people fighting and
right,
stuff
right.
like
But
that.
it's not that kind of drama. It's good quality drama. Like a lot of people overcoming their fears. A lot of people
Oh,
overcoming
okay.
family problems. A lot of people who are not accepted by their family for their orientation, overcoming that. There's a lot of that goes on that kind of gets
Gotcha.
cut. A lot of that gets cut out.
Okay, I see. When I think drama, I think, especially since I watch like trashy reality TV,
Right.
I think of like
That's why I said good
you know,
quality. Good
yeah.
quality. It's wholesome drama. Because even if they showed all that stuff, with 2 hours, I think the beats would hit better and it'd be more emotional.
Yeah.
There'd be a better story arc. And I think people would watch it. It's not on actual TV. It's on a streaming service. There's no reason to pigeonhole yourself into that hour-long
slot. Yeah.
format. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I know a lot of shows just aim for an hour. I wonder if they just from the beginning said these are going to be hour-long episodes, and then you get there, film what you film, and
Yeah, I think so. Because they could easily, like I said, do 2 hours. I mean, some of the stuff, there's no reason why they don't do a whole season. Do a whole season on it. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of work that goes into these 2 weeks just to give you an hour-long episode.
plus, I mean, with streaming services and stuff, it's all now their focus is on how long you watch, not what you watch. That's
Right.
why, like, it's better to get you to watch a movie than, like, a single episode of a TV series. You know,
Yeah.
you'd think, 2 hours, that's twice the commercials we can put in between it.
Yeah.
Or that's twice as much time that you can fill with your subscription.
Right.
So you'd think they'd want to do that.
Right.
but-
Yeah. I like the show. It was fun to work on.
Yeah. I enjoyed, I only watched the Evansville episode, but I really,
Yeah.
especially after just watching the Kardashians where nothing happens.
Right.
It was interesting watching a show where stuff does happen.
Well, the Evansville episode actually made world news. A lot of controversy with that.
Why is that?
That pastor that was on there got in a lot of trouble. And that was actually like all over
Like
the
with his
news.
congregation?
No, with the church had to pull him out. Yeah, because like people were upset that a pastor was on the show.
Wow.
That was all over the
Wow.
news. Yeah, it was huge.
That's something we'll have to try and keep up with when we do some of these older shows, and eventually we do want to do. We're here, but like just looking at like reactions at the
Oh
time
yeah, they
too,
watched the Fallout and stuff like that too.
because I think it is hard to look at it. Because one of the things we talked about when I accidentally watched the original like 2003 series, first season of the Kardashians or whatever it was, like
Yeah.
how milquetoast it feels in like 2022 watching that, where it's just like all the things that everyone's like, it's so shocking they're doing this. And it's like, oh no, the adults are drinking in front of children.
Right.
Oh no, they let the little kids make non-alcoholic mixed drinks. Oh wow. And then the little girl's like, I'm on a stripper pole, and it's like national news at the time.
Right.
And now you're just like, that's like a Nick of Night like TV, like
Right.
that's something that's happened to George Lopez, and everyone's mom be like, wouldn't that be crazy?
Right.
So,
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to get into the cultural response of some of the shows we're going to cover.
Yeah, and not even the cultural response. Watch some of these shows. You might see like the fallout for some of the stuff that they do. Like with the MTV, the fallout was really interesting when she attacked her boyfriend with the machete. I mean, she went to jail. The cops showed up. Someone eventually called the cops. They didn't at first. They were letting it go on. They were filming it. Someone eventually called the cops. I think a neighbor. Cops showed up, found a bunch of drugs in her car, and she did go to jail. And she lost like the rights to see her kid. Or
Did
something.
anyone on the show get in trouble for allowing that
Yes,
to happen?
they got fined. MTV got fined.
Because I know that's happened with The Bachelor before. The Bachelor has allowed things to happen that made people unsafe, and they got in big trouble and had to
Yeah, they got in trouble. Yeah,
revise some of
MTV
their
got in
rules.
trouble.
Yeah. Okay.
That's something we'll have to talk about when we do more competitive reality TV shows too, because they are like the biggest offender. And like
Oh, yeah.
like Survivor and like shows that specifically shows that try to parrot what Survivor does have gotten in a huge amount of trouble. And I can't remember what it's called. It's like Kids Town or whatever, where they took like 300 kids out to the desert and were like,
Oh, yeah.
you kids are going to run this town. And like secretly there's like adults running behind them doing everything for them and just letting the kids be afraid of having to do the things, because otherwise like they'd all be going to prison for releasing a bunch of kids in the desert and be like,
Right.
all right, find food.
Right.
So like
Wow.
even like those shows get crazy and like the investigations into them and stuff. It's
Do either of you have any other questions before? I want to give you a chance to plug your current projects and everything, but do either of you have any other questions first?
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
But
Cool. What you got going on right now that you'd like people to check out?
I don't have anything for anyone to check out right now. I was working on a music video for a band that may or may not get released now because of drama going on behind the scenes. But I am on the board for the Indiana Filmmakers Network. If you want to catch that out or catch that on the internet, go to the Facebook, check us out, go to our website. Please help us donate. COVID wiped out this organization more or less. I kind of got defaulted into being a board member. So I'm trying to help put it back on its feet. We're going to need some money down the road soon because we're trying to build our website back up, which is going to be very instrumental in moving forward. Mostly I'm just focusing on that. I will be doing production assistant work for theater next year. So if you're in Anderson at the Anderson Main Stage Theater, come check out our plays.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks so much for your time. It was really interesting to get some insight into how this stuff works,
Yeah, I hope I
how the sausage is made.
And full disclosure, everything I have said on here is from my experience. So if I have incorrectly said something that it's not how it actually works in real life, I apologize. This is what I observed with
Sure,
my
yeah.
eyes.
Yep, I got it.
Yeah, and I'm just
good.
just saying it to
Yeah.
everyone because so like I could be wrong about things.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
It's fun
coming
to be on.
All right, we always say thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Mwah.